Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your match reaction. It is finished Bromley 1, Ipswich Town 1. Bromley go through on penalties in the Carabao Cup. There's lots of comments coming in. We're going to try and get through as many as we possibly can. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all of that. But it wasn't a great night for Ipswich Town Football Club. A fairly strong side now exiting the cup. And as I say, lots of comments. So if you do want to have your say, please get your comment in. We'll try and come to them as soon as we possibly can. I have also dropped a link should you so wish to come on the show. But don't forget, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Match Bingo combining the excitement of live sport with the thrill of bingo. Your card has 15 random events from a live football match, and you watch them get marked off as the game unfolds. It's a brand new way to enjoy live football. You must be 18 or over. Terms and conditions apply, and please gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Links are in the description, or scan the QR code, which is on the screen now to play. We have got Sneaky Squid, got to hate pens, but here we go. Come on, Town. That was before the penalty was taken, Neil. And I'm not quite sure Sneaky Squid is feeling ever so optimistic now. What are your thoughts as we head into this match reaction show?
Prior to the penalties, I was reasonably happy. We were playing well. We just didn't finish.
Really? You were reasonably happy despite the strongest, having a fairly strong squad out?
We're weak to the long ball and strength. So when you come up against that, it's always going to be your Achilles heel, and you've just got to weather it, really. And I felt as weak as we looked to it as expected. On the other hand, we done some good passages of play, and yeah, we were unlucky that some of our final balls were a little bit poor, but we had enough chances. We should have done more than just the one goal.
We did have a fair few chances, a fair few set pieces. I brought Lee Anderson in, who's sort of jumped in last minute to help me out. Heidi Holefield. Lee says, concentrate on the league. Neil says we were unlucky in places. What are your thoughts following tonight's cup exit?
Well, we've just not got a strong enough squad at the moment, have we? That's just really frustrating.
Not strong enough to beat Bromley?
No, because we've left what, 5 or 6 of them not even in the squad. We've got 2 youngsters in midfield. I'm not using it as an excuse. It's just a fact. We just weren't good enough tonight. And Al Hamadi, the experiment is over. He's not. I mean, he was playing his level, wasn't he? League 2, League 1. He looked better when he was on the right, but offered nothing up front. And I tell you what, my gran would have scored that penalty, bet done. And she's been dead 25 years. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. How he ever got anywhere near taking a penalty, I don't know, after his last one.
Well, to be fair, it was sudden death penalties. And when you get to that level, it does turn into a who fancies one, who's going to be able to take one.
What did we bring Greaves on for then? I thought Greaves was coming on to take one. Did he take one? I didn't think he did he?
Well, yeah, we didn't get that far through the sudden death penalties, did we?
Well,
I think he came on for Kipri. I might be wrong, but Kipri may have been, I don't know why he came on for Kipri, to be fair.
He could have been injured, yeah.
But he did.
But I mean, Ali would fancy himself. He's a confident guy. He'd fancy himself to take one. But we all know, I mean, there was Jack Taylor, who's missed his last 2 as well.
Exactly,
yes, we're getting down. What's wrong with Cam Humphreys stepping up? He's a technically good footballer.
I thought he had a brilliant game.
Yeah, he did. He played really well. He did. Absolutely. I mean, he's above that level. You can see he's a good footballer. Absolutely. And Barbrick did well for a young lad as well. I mean, he had a good time. But, we've got I say Premier League squad. We did have, players that played in the Premier League. We should have done better. When the subs made a big difference, I think, with the tyre and legs. But that's really frustrating, the cup stuff. Really.
So you really enjoyed Cam Humphreys this evening, then, Neil. Obviously a poor result out of the cup, but you really enjoyed what you saw from the Suffolk Messi.
Yeah, during the Birmingham game, I really wasn't impressed, but tonight, yeah, he really stepped up to the occasion, especially that second half. I'm not sure what he was told at half time, but he came out and he done all the turns. He was keeping hold of possession. He was looking positive.
And Barbrick as well next to him. I thought Barbrick had a really good game. Neil, how did you see his performance next to Humphreys?
He done that brilliant last ditch slide for a block, and yeah, prior to that he he seemed solid. I wasn't expecting a lad that I'd never really heard of myself, whether I'm been hiding under a rock somewhere and I should know about him. But yeah, he was really good. So really surprised and impressed.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lee. I thought Barbara, although it always, it always annoys me how Ipswich Town at the moment consistently end up being 2v1 on their own corners. It happens at an alarming rate. And you know me in set pieces. Anyone who's watched the show for any length of time, you know me in set pieces. It annoys the living life out of me that we consistently get 2v1 on our own set pieces. But I thought you did well today.
Yeah, he got his toe to it, didn't he? It was a good stop. But I mean, I said to my lad after after the chance had gone, I said, we are so poor at defending our own corners. It's so poor at defending our own. It happens all the time. I mean, they're a counter-attack side as well, aren't they? So, and they were impressive on the counter-attack when they got the ball. They were sharp. The guy down the right-hand side, they're drilled in that move. That's obviously their style of play. But we should have enough. We should have enough to beat them. But really, we didn't really play with a striker until Hurst. Come on. I mean,
no,
you can see a difference there, and you can see Jack Clark is a good footballer, but again, he was frustrating at times, held the ball a couple of times too long. But yeah, just really frustrating, and we just haven't got the real numbers, have we? We haven't got the numbers if we're leaving other players out. If we're leaving other players at home, then we need to get people in the door as soon as possible. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, we've got.
It is frustrating as Clark is. He doesn't quite seem up to speed so far this season, and a bit us lacking in numbers in that position. It's showing.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not sure what Benny offers. I know he's been out a long time. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice, but he's looked pretty sharp. But he's having to start, and what he played about 15 minutes pre-season, and he's come on in the cauldron at Birmingham and being asked to play again. So that, I suppose that's trying to bring his match fitness up. But he looked a bit rusty to me, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure did he really offer a lot tonight.
Well, no, the equalising goal, I thought Ogbeni had a really good run on that right-hand side. He committed the fullback. Put a good ball across the face of the goal. Chaplin does what Chaplin does, good save, and then Ben Johnson does really well. Before we go into sort of Ben Johnson's second half performance, where he was almost a one-man show at times, we've got, I think it's ITFC Beard joining us. Beard, welcome in. How you doing? Are you well?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And let me just get you up on the screen. What are your thoughts while I do that this evening?
I think my title says it. Deja vu. We've been there. We've done that. We've seen it all before. Oh, why we look like we're a lower league team than them? Like we look like an old man with no dentures in. We've just got no bite.
No.
Like we've got no finish. We're off the step. We seem to be chasing the teams all the time. We should be the ones pushing it to them constantly, putting them under the cosh. But no, we're sitting back. We're allowing them to do their thing, hitting it long, and then boom, we all over again.
A big part of the conversation in Discord this evening was the speed of play, the speed of the pass. Was that also a problem for you? I see Lee's nodding his head. Was it also a problem for you?
I think so. Yeah, we're not snappy. We're not like boom, instant. We need to do those 1-2s. We need to push the space, invade quicker. We need to have a bit more urgency in our game, and we just haven't got that at the moment from when we're in the Championship before. And in the Discord, it was a little bit doom and gloomy. People are like, oh, they're going to flee like rats off a ship. It's not that bad. It's the second game, but we do something needs to change, and it needs to change rapid, because we'll soon see these games getting away from us. Yeah, we've got, important games coming up, but it's not the be all end all, but we do need to make them changes, and we need to make them quick.
How do you change it then, Lee? Beard, one of you, whoever wants to answer.
Oh, no, go.
Take it. Off you go, mate. Off you go.
Off you go. Off you go, mate.
I think the confidence is a big thing. We do look like we've taken a beating, like in our confidence wise. Like we're saying with Jack Clark, he doesn't seem the same guy that we bought at the moment. He does seem lightweight. He's, you know, you see little glimpses of it, you know, when he's trying to, you know, push into the box, cut inside, you know, and do that little, but then he just gets bullied off the ball all the time. So we're maybe, you know, another midfielder at least, someone with a little confidence would, you know, really make a big difference. I'm still hoping Flynn, but I doubt it's ever going to happen.
You never know. Never say never in football. Would you agree with that, Lee? Before we let Beard go.
Yeah, I just think I remember being on the pod probably a couple of years ago when we were on the start of the League One season. I said I watched pre-season and we looked ready. The squad was sort of settled. We looked ready. Everything in you know, I mean, we've won pretty much all the games this season in pre-season, and we look quite good against Auxerre. But we just seem, I know it was a tough game against Birmingham, but we seem in transition again. We haven't got all the players through the door, and I just think we're nowhere near up to speed on where, you know, that year in League One and even the Championship, we were more with it. We had a more settled squad. Most of the squad was in the door, and I think we've got a bit of a hangover from the Premier League with players going out of the door. But we definitely need that extra midfielder. There's no doubt we need somebody else in.
Can I just say, I'm a bit like, do you know, like you were a stand for Taylor? I'm the same with Obonne. I think he's going to be integral this season. I think he's come off a long-term injury. He's only just getting minutes in his legs, and you see them flashes of his speed coming back. And I think he's going to be vital down that right. I think he's going to come good for us, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hopefully so. Beard, thanks for dropping by and joining us. I really appreciate it. All the best.
Always.
One of our Discord community volunteer mods. We've got some comments coming in. Heidi said, "Are we shocked though? We never do well in cups." We've got €10 super sticker from David. David, thank you very much for your generosity. I really appreciate it. And a $9.99 super sticker from MPR. MPR, thank you ever so much for your generosity. Really appreciate it. I'll get some comments coming in just a second. We get the overlay back on the screen and get us back in the boxes. There we go. Big Al, I blame Kieran McKenna playing the same tactic and formation. It didn't work last season. Big Al finishes that with he hasn't got a clue. Well, I disagree with that with the last bit, Big Al. Simon Hall, Walton. Oh my God, he's number 2. Bring forward button. Yeah, that their goal. Neil, Christian Walton. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do.
He came out, didn't collect. It was put back across, and unfortunately, Kipri didn't keep the header out.
But he's got no. I don't think he's got any right to be there, Walton. Like, he's never going to get there in a million years. He's going for a crowd of bodies. I think he's gone past the edge of his 6-yard box, which isn't always a bad thing from a corner. But when you've got a crowd of bodies in front of you, it makes that journey to where you need to get to that much longer. I don't see what he's doing.
In fairness, to start with, I felt he's going to come and collect it. Then he stumbled, took a bit of time, and then on the close-up replay, he's got his arm up to punch it, but he's nowhere near the height that the player is headering it. So I don't know. Yeah, it didn't work out. It was pretty pathetic, as you're explaining, and yeah, we went one down.
What do you think, Lee?
I think they had 2 6'6" players in the box, and you know, you look at that team, and the goalkeeper was one of the shortest players in their team. I mean, I think they had a couple of lads in midfield, but you know, when they were defending their corners, all their players towered above the goalkeeper almost. That's how it felt. But I think with Walton, they've got 2 big players. They know the drill. They've rehearsed it, and he's thought, I'm going to have to come and get that because that 6'6" lad's going to head it back across. And I think he's overcommitted, and he's lost the flight of the ball. So I think he'd made his mind. It's almost like he'd prejudged it. I mean, obviously that might not be the case, but that's what I feel. And he got crowded out by his own player, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
In hindsight, if he had stayed on his line, he would have just been a simple catch for him.
He'd have just caught it. Yeah, absolutely. All that to put more pressure on because the forward only had to header it. He only had to header it. Guy who scored only had to header it towards the goal, really. But I think, had he stayed, easier said than done. But he was nowhere near it, and that dropped miles over him. And even if he hadn't been blocked, I don't think he was getting that.
You said there's obviously a routine they'd worked on, which I just was taking that in for a minute. That it was refreshing to hear of a football club working on its set piece routines. I didn't think that happened anymore. Having watched ours for the last 2 seasons.
That was one thing with Ashley Young. At least one of his set pieces that he whipped in, and you thought, "Oh, this is going to be a lovely little nod in the goal." There was no one anywhere near it. It was put in such a dangerous place, and none of our players were there.
Doesn't surprise me, Mr. Moles. It really doesn't. Lee, I've got Steve waiting to come in. Before I do, Lewis has made a comment in our chat, and you were talking about how we're not quite ready yet. Well, Lewis says, horrendously poor first 2 games, absolutely nowhere. We cannot afford to be 4 weeks behind. Lucky to make the playoffs this season. Woeful. You obviously was talking about how we're not quite ready yet. There's Lewis's comment on the screen. What are your thoughts?
There's 45 games to go. There is I cannot see for 1 minute that we're going to be outside the top 6. The championship is in 2 halves, and we're in the top half now with all the money and the players that look who we've just signed. The players that we've signed, and another good midfield. We've got a Caduce in midfield in the championship. We've got good players. Once that team settled down, and when we're under McKenna, when have we ever started the season really that well? I know I did sort of bit in the championship, but we do stumble. Even the year promoted at League One, we stumbled for the first part, didn't we? And it took us a while. And the championship will take shape after 10 games, and if we're not, we'll be in the top 6 after 10 games easily. I'm sure of that. Once we settle in.
All right, we've got Steve. Go on.
Yeah,
you're sure going to be top 6?
I can't see us not being in the top 6. I really can't. We might have a bad start, but I reckon within give it 6-7 games and we'll be in the top 6. I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, McNabby 13 agrees with you. Said, why being so negative? We will get better, we will strengthen, we will win games, and that will build confidence. Absolutely. We've got Steve joining us in a second. Before we do, don't forget we are also partnered with Stowmarket Osteopaths, providing quality osteopath and physiotherapy services in Suffolk since 1985. If you want professional experienced care, give them a call on 01449613633 and tell them Talking Town has sent you. Steve, welcome in. How are you this evening? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Gov. You all right? How are we?
Very well, thank you, sir. Well, I'm actually all right, but it's never nice to see your club get beaten. Although it is a familiar feeling, right? I'm getting deja vu from last year, AFC Wimbledon away. I'm getting deja vu from the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. So familiar. But how are you? What's your thought?
Good, Gov. I'm going to quote a little bit from your previous show in relation to midfield, and I think maybe McKenna dropped the ball a little bit. I think Jens could have played a little bit to get some minutes into him. And obviously, that's why I had that game, obviously, at Birmingham. It's great to see the young lads play. I get that. However, we need to get legs. If Jens is up and he's playing and he's whatever pre-season he's had, we probably need to gauge that a little bit if he's going to drop straight into Sunday.
Yeah.
Will he drop straight into Sunday? Not so sure because we don't know. The second thing I want to bring in is obviously we've got Akpon. Where is he going to play? Is he going to play a 9 or is he going to play a 10? Because obviously, is he going to drop in for Hurst? What is the? I don't see where that's going to work because he's not going to change his system. McKenna's not going to do that. Could that have been something we could have maybe? I know McKenna doesn't like to stick people straight in from when he signs them, but would that have been an ideal opportunity just to go, well, actually, what are we going to do here? Which way are we going to work? I know we think about injuries and, that one for Philogene for Moxair will look really nasty. It was not a nice one. Obviously, Townsend being injured obviously doesn't help either with a cover for Leif Davis. I think the massive bonus and positive is Ashley Young. I think whatever he's done coming on, he's been really, really solid, and I think he'll be a real benefit to the club. But I just think, just generally overall, and listen to the game tonight, I think the positives, which you've got to take the positives, is the two youngsters in the middle. I think Barbrook had a really good game. Cam had a really good game as well. But it just shows the depth, like Lee said. The depth isn't there. Like, Al Haddam, do you know what I mean? How many more times are we going to go? And I think just the depth's not there, Gov. And I think the longer it goes on, we just need to build that confidence. And we do need to build the confidence. There's no getting away from it. We had a really difficult season last season in the Premiership. That's, we've got different players in. Yeah, we have. But we just don't want that to be creeping into the Ipswich of old of, confidence starting to go down a little bit. I know it's only second game in, and I get that. I'm not saying it's a knee-jerk reaction and we're not going to get anywhere. That's not what I'm getting at. But what we did pride ourselves on before Premiership really was that winning mentality that, you're going to score 2, we're going to score 3. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And my worry is that, we might get into that mindset. We might not. I just worry. That worries me.
Where do we see Akpom playing then, gentlemen? To answer Steve's question, he says, he's coming in. Will it be seen as a 9 or as a 10? Will it be game by game basis? Where do we see Akpom playing? First of all, Lee, where do you see Akpom coming in and playing?
Centre forward.
Centre forward. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Neil.
So I just think on the numbers game, unless Chaplin or Smolix is going to move on, unless he's replaced Broadhead. I mean, we might go sign another, top end striker. Well, I say top end, another centre forward. But I wonder with where the market is now, I think he's coming as centre forward.
How many more weeks have we got for the market? 3 weeks.
End of September, isn't it?
And is it end or beginning of September? One of the
Beginning
two,
of
isn't it?
September.
It's one of the two.
Right.
It can't come quick enough in some respects, in terms of players departing and wanting to keep hold of some of the players that you probably know are going to be leaving. But equally, it feels like it's a long time away as well because you want players in the door ASAP. I agree in the sense of what Lee just said. Neil, before we go any further, do you see Akpom coming as a striker?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
I can't see him without injuries. I can't see him slotting in number 10, really.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, though, with losing Broadhead and Amara, you are still going to be looking to bring in a winger, even if you go, okay, well, you've got Smolix, you can maybe drift out wide to the left on occasions. That means Chaplin and Akpom maybe can, you've got those 3 players for that 1 position or 2 positions, but you're still going to need either a striker to alleviate the pressure, because as much as I want Ali to succeed, he had a great chance at the end of the game tonight. Got to score it. If you want to stake a claim for a championship backup centre forward, you've got to be, for me, slotting that away. He doesn't do it. Penalties are penalties. People miss those all the time. But you think, okay, so you probably, if Akpom's not a centre forward, you still need one. If he is, and you lose Broadhead and you lose Hamari, you still need a winger. So, there's still a lot of moving parts up that end of the field. And also the 2 in midfield today. Great to see 2 young lads coming on, doing really well, seeing the lifeblood that is your academy producing 2 good players. But in all due respect, that shouldn't be. And I know you've got Jens Koyus waiting in the wings, who was just signed, but many people at the end of last season were saying, I'd like to see Jens come back and still sign 2 midfield players. That should not have changed people's minds, because that should still be the goal. Window's still open. You should still want to see Jens back. Tick. You got that one. Now you should want to see 2 midfield players, Steve.
What can Jens play? Can he play a full 90 minutes? Can he play the championship programme? We still don't know, do we? We don't know what sort of pre-season he's had. We don't know. And that is worrying. I think Ali's got his level in which he is. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but at the end of the day, he's obviously at a certain level. And I think the club has outgrown him. I really do. I really do. And I wish him the well, but I just don't think it is with Ipswich Town. I really don't. But then that causes you issues in regards to if Hurst gets an injury, if Akpom gets an injury, like you say, Gov, and like I say, Lee, you need to dip into that market. My concern is we're running out of time, and we know how long, negotiations going hackney. Need we say any more? You know, could we go back in for him? I don't think we will. I don't think he'll come because, you know, end of the day, he's holding out for a Premiership move. Are we then going to go back? Oh, well, you know, you didn't get it, mate. So come on, jump in. Do we want a player like that? Amari issue is a massive issue. He either wants to play for the football team or he doesn't. And actually,
we don't know what he wants to do.
attitude.
Obviously, he's not been too well. And as somebody who suffers from a reoccurring throat infection, believe me, they are never nice.
Yeah.
But look, I hope and pray that we can keep hold of him. It's looking unlikely with each passing day, but I hope and pray we can keep hold of him because he would be a cheat code at this level. Steve, we appreciate you joining us this evening. You look after yourself. All right.
Yeah, mate.
Look, so yeah, we've covered the window a little bit with some great comments coming in. Do keep them coming. Paul said we need a quality striker and 2 more decent midfield players as a minimum.
Did
Big
you
Al
guys
says,
think Taylor would have stepped up a little bit more this season?
well, you would have hoped it, wouldn't you? But I mean, there's still time, obviously. And as Lee rightfully said earlier, there's 45 games left to play. But even then, I don't know. I still feel Taylor should be a third option, not
It just seems
a fourth option, as opposed to the second option.
I just felt he should have been battling for the first team position a bit more than the performances I'm seeing from him so far. Like you say, it's early days, but we're just the fans just seem to be crying out for players to fill his position because he's just not quite there.
No,
he's a squad midfielder, isn't he? He's the 4th or 5th backup like we had last season. I mean, thinking back at it and just listening to the comments from Steve and that as well. When you think about it, we were quite lucky. We had 2 experienced midfielders for the last couple in the promotion season. We had Massimo and we had Morsey. And we could bring other players in around that. We're now having to replace pretty much the whole midfield.
Yeah.
And those to come in who were already at the club are not to the level of Morsey and Massimo. Maybe Taylor. I think Taylor was fancied ahead of Massimo because I think he got more minutes last season. So, you know, there's a big churn in that midfield. I think Taylor will stay, and I think he's got an opportunity. You know, he'll hopefully get some opportunity. I mean, he did play against Birmingham in a real tough game. So we're only judging him on one game, and we can't really judge him what he did tonight when he came on because he was only on for about 15 minutes. But yeah, he's got to turn up this season and be given the opportunity maybe to turn up. Because I think there's a player there. But I think, again, it goes back to some of the other players, with the ambition of the club, we're bringing players in that need to move the club. You know, we've got to buy players that if we do succeed in promotion, they've got to be ready for the Premier League. We're not going to be buying players on a 3 or 4 year contract that aren't good enough for the Premier League. So that makes the market really tight and really difficult. So I think that's part of the club's problem. We haven't got the players that we can see out on 1 year contracts. We had Massimo, we had Morsey, who could really do a good job for us over the last 2 years, but they were never really going to go beyond their contracts. So we've got to replace them with better players that can hit the ground running. So I think that's a real tough one for the club.
Womble says it's early days of the season, not for Taylor. Martin H says too slow in transition, allowed Bromley to build their defence. Mike D, Taylor will have to stay at the minute. Who else starts with Matasiwa on Sunday? Good point.
Taylor. There's no way Kajus will.
No. But that's what he's saying. Taylor has to start at the moment because that's the option. That's where you're at as a football club. Yeah. All right. Before we round up, I'm going to ask you one more question. Before I do, don't forget we are proud to be partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery. For just £1 each week, you could help win up to £1,000 and support their life-saving work, keeping their yellow helicopters flying. There are 18 winners every week with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. You must be 18 or over to play. Terms and conditions apply, and please gamble responsibly. For more information, visit begambleaware.org. Sorry, I completely and utterly fell over the words in that read. I didn't know what was going on.
To go continue a little bit with Taylor, if his keeps getting last season was a little bit of an escape because, okay, we progressed too fast. We got to the Premiership and maybe that was a bit of a level too high for him. But surely now we're back to a level that he should be striving for. And how long before he gets frustrated with the amount of minutes he would be getting if you, like you guys mentioned, putting in 4th or 5th in the list.
But I don't think I don't think we've helped him in the sense of the lack of minutes over the last 2-3 seasons it's not helped his development. He arrived from Peterborough, and no one could see what was going to happen when he arrived in the sense of the season we would have, the journey we would go on, the run we would be, etc. But the lack of minutes can't have helped his development. It has stalled it a little bit, somewhat for me. So all things, but hey, life is life, and football is football, and the club's in one place, and we need to be obviously looking, as Lee was saying there, about transfer targets being ready for the Premier League. Is that a player that's ready for the Premier League? Should you get there next season? Probably not. So yeah,
I almost fear we're struggling to get the Premiership talent in this season. We're almost going to have to do similar to last season. Get the players in for the Championship, get the job done, and then re-go again. The Premiership.
But obviously there's been big names being linked. Nothing yet has arrived. Obviously, Hackney, £20 million on the table. That was looking like it was going to go somewhere, and then it didn't. So it's certainly not through lack of ambition or trying. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe one of those things. A bit like London buses. You wait for one, and then maybe 4 or 5 are going to turn up in very quick succession, and we're all going to be sitting here in 3 weeks' time, or after the Sheffield United game and the international break, thinking, okay, there was a bad start, but players came in and we recovered, and I think we will be. I think we'll be in that position. Before we go, Jack Clark, thoughts on him this evening? I'll ask you both the same question. Thoughts on Jack Clark this evening, Neil? You first. What are your thoughts on Jack Clark this evening?
Some good tidy touches, but even against the opposition like tonight, he just didn't seem to really be able to open up an opportunity to really look deadly or dangerous. He, quite a lot of the time, his easy outlet was just off to Leaf in the first half, and yeah, I don't really feel he was that helpful second half. Sammy Schmodix went out there and he instantly gave us a bit of pace, and that would be one thing he's missing for me.
Actually, that's a good point. You brought up Leaf. Obviously, Leaf made it way at half time. So I'm going to change the question for you, Lee. Sorry. Ben Johnson coming on. One man show in that second half. What were your thoughts on Johnson at left back's performance?
Well, I think Johnson did all right. He came on. But I think we looked a little bit in our forward play down the left-hand side. We looked a bit more disjointed when he was off, because I think I agree what Neil just said, but to take that one step forward, that when Clark comes inside on his right foot, that leaves the space for Davis to go down. And they did, they did a few good combinations. So they had that understanding, and that did work. And we got Leaf in a few times, didn't we, with crosses? Yeah. Although they're in, but Johnson came on and had some good moments. He's playing left back, and what we didn't do last season, we didn't get enough. We didn't flood the box, and he's came in. I mean, Chapman's took that chance. Couldn't do any more with that chance, really.
No,
the goalkeeper's made a fantastic save, and normally that would come out to us, and there would be defenders to clear it. But we had numbers in the box for once, so that's the only positive. But Johnson was busting the gut to do that, and I think Leif Davis was doing the same as well. He was getting a lot further forward. But it's against League Two opposition. But I wonder about Johnson. He's one of those players again. He looked a bit rusty against Birmingham, didn't he? Again, he's another one.
Started slow. But I thought he was really impressive at left back today, and at times he was playing as a number 10 as opposed to a left back. Particularly had that opportunity where he'd sort of done a spin in the 18-yard box and had that shot. I was really impressed with I
saw his name in lights, didn't he?
He did. I saw his name in lights. It was a great moment. I've been steadily impressed more and more the more I see Ben Johnson. He's a player that every time I see him, I get more and more impressed with what he's bringing to the team. And he may have started slow Friday, Lee, and I will agree with you there. But I think he grew into the game like a lot of the players, and had a really comfortable performance actually in the end. If we look at back, look at the tape back, is my opinion on that one.
I think tonight was a good one for him, considering a lot of people felt Ashley Young looked a lot more comfortable right back when he came on against Birmingham. I felt that he was a bit, people didn't really give him the credit that I felt. I felt he done okay, and tonight his performance gives him a little bit of relief as such. Bill can give him a bit more of a chance.
All right, we're going to leave it there because obviously it's now 11:15 and it's way past my bedtime. We're going to get a few comments before we leave. Tom said, I think we need to keep hold of Broadhead. If he goes, we're in trouble, which I agree with. And he may well have gone, not officially, but he may well have gone. He may well go. But if you've seen the match preview for Bromley, you'll have seen my impassioned speech to try and keep him. The group will look different by the end of August, says Chris Boyd. I don't know if he's saying that or if he's hearing what McKenna is speaking on the TV. We'll go with that's what Chris Boyd thinks. But if it was equally what McKenna said on the TV, then that's obviously great news. Mike D says McKenna too slow and not enough urgency. Again, I don't know if that's Mike D saying it or if that's McKenna saying it on Sky. We'll go with Mike D, but unless I'm wrong. But either way, we are back tomorrow night with another match preview as we look ahead to Southampton. We'll obviously discuss this again, although if I'm honest with you right now, right here, we probably won't dwell too much on it for obvious reasons because it was awful. But you never know. Something might happen. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This man here has been Mr. Lee Anderson. This man here has been Mr. Neil Moles. We'll be back tomorrow, as I say, 8 p.m. But until then, take care. God bless. All the best.